Right, I hope you can see. I changed tact a little bit. I've moved away from the gun stocks and the guns for a little while, and I've got into refurbing and doing reels and reel handles. Wasn't I was getting bored of the guns, it's just I just needed to take a little bit of time off them and do something else for a little while. So today what I'm going to be doing is changing the bearings on this Shimano Baitrunner 410, taking out the nylon bearings and putting in roller bearings. I've already done one, and I've actually had this one apart already, greased it all up a little while back. So what I decided to do is do this one today and do a short video on how I do it. It's not highly technical, but it is a nice little modification to the reels, and it gives them a bit more longer wearing and durability. I mean, there's nothing wrong with the nylon bearings. Nowadays they're very good quality, but like all things, I decided to have a little change around. Now, the most important thing with these is that you use the correct screwdriver to take the screws out. Don't try and use the screwdrivers that are not don't fit well in them, because you can damage the heads. They're quite small, especially the ones in the back. So just be very cautious. Using the right tools for the right job. Don't try and use other screwdrivers to do them. So what I do, I'll cut back in a minute when I've got it all stripped down, and show you then, because I'm sure you don't want to be watching me strip this down for 5 minutes, and then I'll come back and show you actually fitting the bearing. Right, I've got to this stage now. All the screws out on the main casing. A point to remember is that you can't get this casing off, or you can, but it's very difficult and you can end up cracking it. What you have to do is undo the main screw and this screw, but do not take that fully off, because there is underneath for the anti-reverse ratchet there is a very small spring, and when you pull that spool right off, it will clip out and it will pop out the spring. It's not a big issue if you've done them before. You can put the spring back in, and but the first time, or quite some time ago, I did one, and putting it all back together, and all you heard was the noise of the ratchet engaging, and it threw me for a long time until I stripped it all down again and went through and found out it was a very minute spring that was what holds the ratchet back. So when you reverse the anti-gauge, anti-reverse, it then locks in. It just makes it quiet. So that's a point worth noting. So if you do undo this and that, just pull it off a fraction, just enough so you can retrieve this case without cracking it. Right, I've got the casing off, and that's what you're going to try and that's what you will be replacing, the nylon bearing in bush in that part there. So what I've done, I've got a small drift, and I might be able to force push it out. No, need to give it a slight tap. There you go. That's the nylon bush out, and what we'll do is just gently push our new bearings in. What you'll find is if you've what I do, I'll put the measurements up in comments, and that's basically where you want to be with the bearing pushed in. I always, two things I do is I keep a little tin or a towel to put everything in a nice sterile area, especially if you're working with little bits and pieces. You don't want dust and grit getting into the bearing or inside your reel. So now I've got to take apart this part to get the bearing at the back. So I'll come back in a second. Okay, so what we've pulled out some of the workings, and we've got the bearing hole at the back. So we've just extracted this nylon bush. So what we're going to do is reseat the bearing, the other bearing at the back. When you push it in, just make it sure it's really firm and fully located home. I'll show you in 2 seconds when I've finished that. There you go. I don't know if you can see because of the light. Well, that just pushes back in there. So what I'll do now is I'll put it all back together. As I say, I've recently greased it with lithium based grease, so I know it's doesn't need any more servicing on that. So what I'll do, I'll put it all back together. Right, that's all back together, and I'll quickly show you this. When you take this unit out, which is the anti-reverse part, this collar will pop off there. So when you install it, you've got to make sure that spring is back on and it hasn't all popped off. Just be very gentle taking it off, and you should be able to take it off and just lay it down gently. But when you put it back on, you will need to reinsert this arm onto there, which is sprung loaded. And then what you do is gently pull up until it locates into that collar there, and that sits behind the body. What you need to do is gently just give it a bit of pressure, and then it will click in. Don't try and screw it back with this part down there, because you won't get anywhere. So just when you put it all, make sure that arm's on, gently push over, and you'll feel it click into place. Just need a little bit of force upwards. Right, so what I'll do, I'll put the rest back together, which is quite boring, and then I'll show you the finished product. Right, that's the finished product. I've just checked the anti-reverse works on there, and the bait runner works. There you go, nice and smooth. I always, if I store these for a little while, I always wind the clutch right off. I don't leave the clutch wound up, just always wind it off a little bit. Just when you set up next time, it just takes a little while, but there you go. Next job I'll be doing is replacing the plastic handles with wooden handles, and I'll make another little video and show you how I do that. As you can see, I do a few other bits and pieces. This is for someone. Nice little SS260s, which is this reel there. So there you go, simple as you like. And you can buy a couple of the bearings off eBay, about £2.50 each. I think I bought the whole set of 4 for about 5-6 quid. There you go. Lasts you another 25 years if you're looked after. Easy modification to do, and if you're not sure on how to do it, buzz me a line. I'm more than happy to do the conversion for you, as long as you send it down to me. And there you go. Not much more I can say about that. Thank you for watching.